Hello, shalom everybody. Welcome to the Moneymaker live earnings stream. We're here now. Market just closed. AMC finished right at $9. It touched the dotted line that I have here 1, 2, 3, 4 times. 3 times. Whoops. Technical difficulty time. What's up, guys? My phone, forgot to turn the phone off. Here we go. We're live. We're waiting for the earnings. I thought I would be live for the earnings call, but I saw that it's going to be at 4 p.m. Central Time. So Central Time, I guess, is another hour. I thought it would be now, but it's going to be in another hour. So I don't know if I can be alive for the whole earnings call because I have another engagement in another 2.5 hours. I think we'll be okay. I don't know how long the earnings will be and how long will the earnings call be, but we'll have to see. Don't forget to smash the like button, everybody. What's up? Ma koreh, chaverim? To all the Israelis here, whoever understands Hebrew. I know there's a few of you that will come on the live stream, so thank you for that. So now after market, we're going up a little bit. Let me know if you have any questions before earnings. I came out with a video in the morning, but it didn't send any notifications about it. So not a lot of people saw it. And I think Trey came out with a video with the exact same title, more or less, like 30 minutes after me. So I think a lot of attention was to that video. So I talked a little bit about earnings and what I was anticipating and what could happen here. So I talked about in the video that it could be that the earnings will be not so great, right? You'll have a loss of a certain amount of money, right? But the analyst anticipated this loss on the stock. So earnings, they said after the bell, so we'll probably see a reaction here on the graph, and then we'll go take a look at what's happening. Thank you, Chris from Chicago. Don't forget, guys, to smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't, if you're new to the channel. So basically what can happen is the analyst, each analyst firm will have a bunch of guys. Each person will have their specialties. So you'll have someone that's, is only on biopharma, and you'll have one guy that's only on NAND chips, right? And you'll have someone that's on internet, SaaS sites, and they're going to be only on these companies, right? And they're going to give analysts on only their analysts the reports only on this company. And then they talk to people in the company, they talk to the CFO, they try to figure out what's going on, what's happening. And they're going to give their own analysis about what they think the earnings are going to be for this quarter. Now, more times than none, the CFO will come out and say a few weeks before, listen, these are our preliminary earnings and this is what we are anticipating, but we haven't closed all the numbers, we haven't crunched all the expenses. A lot of times, not so much in AMC, but with other companies, you'll have some orders. It basically works like this. You'll have a backlog, right? A backlog. And then you will take from these backlogs and move it to the earnings, right? To a sale. So sometimes you'll have a company that's, I don't know, sold 1,000 units to another company, but they haven't yet transferred the money, the first company to the second money for the product. So they're not going to put it in the earnings yet. But it could be that by the last week of the quarter, that company wants to get the the money out, right? And they'll send it to the company, and then suddenly they'll have more earnings, more than they anticipated. So that's why what the CFO says a few weeks before, or a week or two before, isn't always 100%, and sometimes we'll see different earnings. Now, what a lot of times happens is we'll have the analyst that will say, okay, according to what I saw from the CFO and what I've talked to people, I think that and what we saw from the CEO in the last quarter and his anticipation for the year, I think that this is going to be the earnings per share for this company. And then we wait for the earnings per share for the company. And if it's under, right, sometimes the stock will fall initially. But then when the CEO comes out and speaks, he'll say, listen, this quarter wasn't great, but we have a lot of orders in the backlog. And next quarter, we're going to see an amazing quarter, right? Because we have 10 shipments that need to go out next quarter, and we're supposed to get the money that quarter, right? Next quarter. So next quarter is going to be amazing. And then you'll see the stock suddenly jump. Even though the earnings were not so good, you'll see suddenly the stock jump. And on the flip side, you could have a great quarter, beat all the earnings, but then he'll say, listen, we have a problem in the factory, and next earnings will probably have a diminished earnings next time around. And then you'll see the stock drop. So it doesn't mean 100% that if earnings are amazing, we're going to see a huge pop. So we have to wait for that. Guys, we have 134 people watching and only 39 likes. So smash that like button. Let's see your questions here. Hey, Avi, you think I will ever meet you if I visit your land? If you come and I'm free and you promise not to, do anything to me, then maybe we could meet up, make a meetup for all the Moneymaker fans in Israel. I'm not that big time yet that I would, have. I've seen some YouTubers that are big time, that they have these get-togethers, and they have, a lot of people that will come to a theater or anything like that. If you ever heard of Philip DeFranco, he has, I think, 1.5 million or even more subscribers, and he did, like a tour in Europe and in the US. So I'm not that big time. He's been like 10 years. I remember being in university and watching him. So let's see what's going to happen. The stock is rising a little bit, but it doesn't mean a lot. You can see there's really low volume. Not a lot is going to happen until the earnings come out. Thank you, Desi. Desi says, wish you the best. Let's ride to the moon. And smash the like button. So basically, we had here, the whole market today was down. You can see here on the side, a lot of red, a sea of red. But the S&P 500, we'll talk a little bit about that until we get the earnings. The S&P 500 went up today. So it's, it's kind of a mixed take, right? Because the S&P 500 is up, the NASDAQ is up, and then you're saying to yourself, well, wait a second, but my portfolio is down. How does this make sense? You have to remember that most of us today are either EV heavy because of what happened a few months ago, or we have a lot of penny stocks, growth stocks, and those kind of stocks are not on these indexes. Right, so you could see that the indexes are going up, but the other stocks are going down. So that's currently the situation. And I know a lot of you guys have crypto now in your portfolio, and that's what's basically saving. Avi, I love your dad jokes. I post dad jokes puns on my Facebook daily, and my friends get so sick. This is from Leah. Thank you, Leah. Yes, JJ, what's the joke? I have I think one time I did live, and then there was a lot of people writing, so I have the slow-mo on it. Let's see what JJ says the joke is. Yeah, there was a green day. It looked like there was going to be a cup and handle kind of thing here, right? You see there was a big dip. It got to the area where my line is more or less, and then it pulled back. I bought some more AMC around 200 shares, I think, another 200 shares. and it went up, and I was like, oh, it's looking good, looking good. Maybe we'll have like 5-6% gain today. And then it's, started pulling back, and then slowly just dropped here exactly to where I have the dashed line here. You can go back and see my videos from a few days ago. This not new line. It's I have this line already for a while, and I talked about this, that this is a area of resistance that we've seen a few times before that the stock has hit. So I made an assessment here that it would hold it again, and if it didn't, then it would fall and it could get to this area of 8, but basically it's held. We'll see once earnings come out if it goes down, what's gonna happen here. Yeah, I thought earnings would be at an earlier time. I saw it was at 4, and then it's 4 Central Time, so that means another hour. So I got mixed up. That's why I started the live now. I should have started it maybe in half an hour, but we can talk, we can make jokes, we can talk about life if you want until then. Where's the joke? Have you ever heard and JJ, I have never heard a joke backwards. Joke backwards? I didn't get it. I didn't get it, JJ, but Paul, I'm not that small. I'm pretty tall, but that's okay. You only see me here on the torso, right? I'm not that small, and I'm not that young either. Thank you, Jay. Blink to Wayman. Let me know, guys, where you all are from. Are you all from the US? Are you from Netherlands? Are you from Singapore? I know we have some people, South Korea. Are you from Israel? Are you from Nicaragua? Where are you guys from? I didn't. AS asked if I heard. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on Gary Gensler's and hearing today. I didn't have. I didn't have time today. I was busy with my children, and I wasn't really 100%. So I didn't have time to follow what was going on there. And it's really hot today. You can see I'm sweating. I need to turn on the air conditioning, but it makes a lot of noise, so I don't know what I'll do in summertime. Idaho, USA, Toronto, Arizona, East Coast, Illinois, California, Somalia, ooh, Bulgaria, Vladimir, yeah, makes sense. It was too tired. I like that one, Ryan. That's a good joke. Good joke. Smash the like button, guys. Lithuania. Bosnia, but in Las Vegas. I really want to go to Las Vegas. Las Vegas. In Hebrew, it's Las Vegas. I have never been. My wife has been. My family has been, like my parents, but I have never been. So Germany, Hamburg. I was in Germany last year, just before COVID started. So let's see. You're writing too many jokes. I can't follow them. Why did the tomato turn red? Because he saw the salad dressing. That's a real in Hebrew we'd call it a wood joke, right? So a dad joke, but that's a real good one. A grasshopper. Drink name after you. Yeah, that I know that joke. A grasshopper walks into a bar. Bartender says, "Hey, we got a drink named after you." Grasshopper says, "You have a drink named Irving?" Yes, Andrew. Ever since we talked, I talked a little bit with Andrew, and he showed me his creations as a chef. I've been dreaming about going to Las Vegas, and I saw a show today in the morning about Las Vegas in the 50s, and I don't know, and it just made me want to go. So we'll see. The best case scenario, in my opinion, right? Of course, the best case scenario is that we have huge earnings, and we beat it by $10 each share, right? I don't know. It's supposed to be minus. Let's see. What is the expectancy? AMC earnings. AMC stock earnings. Before I saw it on Google, but now it's not giving it to me. Projection, maybe. Projection. Here we go. So this is for fiscal year. Yes, Stu, we did that joke already on the channel, right? Thank you, Paul, for subscribing via email. Ooh, I don't think I get from email. I get it, but I think I have to log on to my account. What is the consensus? Is minus 1.28. So best case scenario, I don't have super chat because in Israel there's no super chat anymore, and this is one of the reasons why I just don't do that many lives, because it's fun, but it's worthwhile more to do regular videos just for me specifically. If you want to have Patreon, you can go and join for the month and do it like that, and just come on our Discord and have a great time there if you want. We don't have super chat, so minus 1.25. If that's true, it's a beat, because we can see here that we have minus 1.28 was the consensus, so it's a beat. But we'll let's see if I have the, let's see, AMC Discord. Let's see if they posted something there, and I'll bring it up. Let's see, earnings are out. Yes, also here they're saying, let's see. We'll wait for a second. If that's the real number, then that's great. It's a beat, but we have, if you just want to support on the Patreon, it's $5. So that's 15 cents a day, and $10 for the regular with the Discord if you're interested. And it's in the description down below. If not, send me an email and I'll send you the link. Actually, I don't know if I can send. So if that's the earnings and that's correct, let's see how the stock is reacting. If it's reacting yet. I don't think it's reacted yet. I saw on the Discord server for AMC that also people were saying that it's out, but I haven't seen anything. Guys, there's 425 people on the live stream and only 150 likes. Go smash that like button, guys. Smash like button. I like to do a thing on the live streams. If you ever been to a soccer match or a football match, wherever you live, you know the crowd will sing, ole, 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 ole. So in Hebrew, ole means going up. So let's see the number of likes going up. Ole, 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 ole. I think as soon as the earnings will come out, we're going to see a huge spike here in the in the volume, especially, right? Because it's really low now. You can see according to the graph here, you see this blue bar behind, that's the volume. I have it integrated into the Thinkorswim here, and you can see here only 216 likes, guys. Come on, let's get at least to 400. I know you can do it. So we've been talking about the earnings. Look, base case scenario, of course, we beat it out of the park and the stock goes up. It hits 15 today and tomorrow it hits 30, right? That's the fantasy. The more realistic scenario is we get more or less the number that the CFO came out with just last week or the week before, with the numbers that he said that were going to happen. So I don't think there's going to be a huge surprise on the earnings themselves, right? What can really move the earnings is if my eye itches. If the CEO Adam Aron comes out and says, listen, AMC is doing amazing. This is why we did the moving of the meeting, the annual shareholder meeting. This is why we moved it, and this is why I decided to cancel the 500 million share off the ticket, right? If we do all these things, and he says, listen, we're going to, in next month, I've talked to officials and we're going to be at 95% in 2 months, right? This is what could really send the stock up. The earnings themselves, I don't know how much they'll be a blow out of the water, because we just 2 weeks ago or a week ago, they came out and they gave analysis of the first quarter earnings until then, right? Or something like that, if you remember. So we already have more or less the number of the earnings, right? So what could really help us is if that happens. Now, where I live in Israel, we're basically finished with the pandemic. There's still a few cases every day, around 50 for a country of 8 million. That's not a lot. And also the people that are catching it are really asymptomatic. So they're starting to open up a lot of things. And I just got a message today that the gyms are going to be opening up totally. And already we don't need masks when we're outside, only indoors. Or if you go to a public place like a government office, then you need to wear a mask. But actually the movie theater hasn't opened up at all in Israel. And in the US, AMC is open. So that's very interesting. But we have had plays open up and concerts, but only if they're outside, right? We haven't had it open up indoors yet. And that's something that in the US, a lot of states decided to yes to that. So it's very interesting when they'll open up the movie theaters here. But it's great that you guys have the opportunity to go. I saw that there was like a UFC event in Las Vegas with 10,000 people in the stadium. It's a risk, but it seems like they want to take the risk. So it's very interesting. If you just joined the live stream, we talked about a little bit before what could happen with earnings, why earnings would be good or bad, or how do the analysts get their predictions. We talked a little bit about how every firm will have someone that is in charge of earnings predictions for a specific subgroup, right? And let's say there's one guy that he does only movie theaters, right? So he's going to it was in Florida. Okay, I thought it was in okay, that makes more sense. Florida. What goes on in Florida is sometimes a little bit the joke about Florida. So what happens is basically you'll have that person that would be thank you, PM Jesus. Thank you, Vadim. Hello. So it came out minus 1.42. People are saying now in the chat. I don't know if this is true yet. I haven't seen a reaction here on the graph. So if the earnings would have happened we'd see either a reaction here, you'd see a big volume that would happen, right? So I don't know if this is just rumors. I haven't seen it yet. But basically earnings will give us good indication what's happening with the company going forward, right? It's not going to tell us what happened this quarter, because we know more or less what happened. We know how we opened up in New York, and we know how we opened up in LA, and we know how many theaters were open, and we know how many ticket sales there were. So there's not going to be something huge about the earnings. Also, they came out just a week or so with the catalyst, and that they said that these are probably the earnings that we're going to have. This is basically what we have seen. So it's not going to be groundbreaking. I don't think we'll see like amazing earnings, but so what happens is, how do we get to the earnings, and how do we get the analysis on that? But I just want to take a look if an update here, if anything came out on the website of AMC. Let me take a look. Where is that? Not here. Here we go. This is where the webcast was going to be, but it's only in another 30 minutes when the CEO will talk. Let's see, newsroom. Let's see if they updated anything here. AMC results. Here we go. No, nothing out yet on the website. Just that it's going to be today reported results. Okay, it did release. So where are the numbers? Today reported results, which have been posted on the investor relations section. Here. Let's go check it out. Here we go. Whoops. This is what we wanted to see. So, they wrote a lot of things here. 1.42. Yes, guys, you were right. You were right. 1.42. So let's take a look at what's going on with the graph, and then we'll. So basically, it's 1.42. And what was the? Let's take a look. What was the low EPS forecast? Was 1.44. That was the low end. Let's see if we have here anything. Yes. Sales miss. Yeah, 126 was the estimate, and they lost more than the estimate. This is let's read what they had to say, because a lot of times, even though that there's a little bit miss here, what we can see on the earnings report itself is important. So let's bring that up. Here we go, and try to see what they said. So as of March 31st, AMC was operating at 585 domestic theaters with limited seating capacities of between 15% and 60%, representing approximately 99% of domestic theaters. That's basically what we talked about before, that most of the things were open up. As of March 31st, AMC was operating 97 international lease and partnership theaters with limited seating capacities, represented approximately 27% of international theaters. Adam Aaron said, "We started 2021." Let me just drink and smash the like button, guys. 857 people and only 290 likes. What's going on? Let me drink. It's really hot in here. Let's get back to the earnings. So let's see what the CEO had to say, and then we'll see what he said on the we'll see what he says on the live stream. "We started 2021 with the same conviction, drive, and commitment that saw AMC successfully navigate the most challenging 12-month period in AMC century-long history. we finally can now say that we're looking at increasingly favorable environment for moviegoing and for AMC as a company over the coming few months. This is a result of successful and steadily growing vaccination program in the US, Europe, and Middle East, especially across the United States. The proactive implementation of our comprehensive and effective AMC Safe and Clean protocols, the arrival of long-awaited new movies titles and release, movie lovers who are eager to once again experience AMC initiate innovative array of loyalty programs and guest amenities as exciting movie titles are released theatrically to big screens, and a vocal, enthusiastic, and avid new shareholders base comprised mostly of some 3 million individual stockholders. So we talked about this last night about the 3 million individual stockholders. Aaron continued, during the first quarter, approximately 7 million US and international patrons confidently returned to AMC theaters. The comprehensive and vigorous steps we have taken through our AMC Safe and Clean protocols, designed in consultation with Clorox and current former faculty of Harvard University Health. Okay, let's jump a little bit here. Strengthening AMC liquidity position and balance sheet remains very high priorities, and we have been active across the board. Over the past 5 months, AMC has raised about $2 billion in fresh equity and debt capital, including the conversion of $600 million of convertible notes into equity at a price of $13.51 per share. Over the past 13 months, AMC has raised approximately $2.9 billion in gross cash proceeds from new debt and equity capital, secured around $1.2 billion of concessions from lenders and landlords, obtained more than $150 million of assistance from European governments, and generated more than $80 million from asset sales. Taken together, we have made well more than $4 billion of progress from our implementing of myriad of capital actions to help us make it through the global storm. As we look ahead at the remainder of 2021 and beyond, AMC remains focused on continued bold action in executing our strategies both operationally and financially as we work to recover from the impact of COVID. Woo! That was long. So basically, he didn't say anything new in this statement here, and let's take a look and we'll see what's happening the first quarter of 2021. So the revenue was 148.3, net loss of 567 million, net cash used in operating was 312, and net loss was 1.42. I'm just trying to understand where is the loss here. Why was the loss so great? So you can see here the expenses. Where is the expenses? Maybe it's down more. Let's take a look at the graph, see how the stock is reacting. More or less it's where it finished, right? Not reacting to here, not reacting to there. So that's very, very good. Guys, we have almost 1,000 viewers on the channel, on the live stream. Let me know where you guys are from, what you think of the earnings, what you just saw. Is it good? Is it bad? And also smash the like button, guys. Amazing. Over 1,000. So great. We have a lot of people here today. Thank you for everybody joining us. Let's take a look. I wanted to see expenses. Maybe it's here. Okay. Expenses. In the beginning, if you've ever seen a balance sheet or earnings, usually they'll put the key financials in the beginning and then they'll have the rest down below. Usually they'll have things that they don't want you to see like if they have a lot of expenditures, or if they if they were doing some things that weren't great, so that will be at the bottom. So I just wanted to see, this is interesting. Food and beverage revenue per patron is up. It was 5.46 in 2020 and now it's 6.3. This is something that we need to notice, but we have to think also that 2020 was a really, really bad year. So it's kind of hard to take into consideration what happened in 2020 and what we're seeing in this quarter. It's not the best, but it's not the worst earnings that I've ever seen. But we'll have to go over everything and try to see what's going on. Let's see. Let's see. He said that they have around $3 billion. So let's take a look. Yeah. Average screens, 6,000. So you can see it's a lot less than 2020. And the attendance was really low in international because most of Europe isn't open up. UK has been locked down significantly, so this is one of the reasons why. US attendance is down significantly. I think these numbers though are 2020 are yearly numbers, if I'm not mistaken, and the 2021 are just the first quarter, so we have to take that into consideration. We can take a look at all of these theater reopening update. Oh, this is important. So yeah, they missed a little bit on the earnings, a tiny bit, not huge, not double. And you can see that if we take a look at the stock, it's reacting basically how you would think. It's not to here and not to here. And I talked about this in the beginning of the live stream, that even if earnings were a little bit worse, it doesn't mean that the stock was going to go down. But if the CEO comes out and says, listen, this quarter, let's forget about it, right? We haven't opened up the theaters yet 100%. Not everybody's vaccinated yet. And next quarter, we have anticipation that it's going to be amazing, right? If he comes out and he says it, right, then that's what we could see, maybe 2, 3, 4% push. If he comes out and he doesn't really say anything significant, then we could see the stock just staying like this, moving sideways. And when we go forward, we're going to have to hope that we get some kind of upgrade or something like that, and maybe even have to wait till next quarter and see what happens with that, because if there's not although you get the vibe from the CEO, from Adam Aaron, that the next quarter is going to be very good, and we'll see in 20 minutes what he says, and we'll listen in together, but it's yeah. So like King Kong says here, the theaters are not opened up 100%. Whoop, 1 second, guys. I was sitting really badly. Guys, if you haven't yet joined the Moneymaker Tribe, there's 1,122 people here on the live stream, so go in the description down below, subscribe to the channel. We talk about AMC, we talk about other stocks, we talk about sometimes about crypto, so join the Moneymaker Tribe. Also, please smash that like button. So let's continue. You know what? Give me one second. I'll be right back. It's really hot and I need some more water. 1 second, I'll be back. Don't go away, guys. You know what? While I'm going to get the water, I have a funny video that I did about the AMC, and not a lot of people saw it. So while I go get my water and I take a 2-minute drink here, let's I'll put it on for you guys. It's really funny, I think. Let me bring it up. AMC. No, that's not what I wanted. Technical difficulty time, guys. Technical difficulty time. Smash the like button, guys, while we're waiting. There's only 442 likes, guys. Come on. Ole, 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 ole. Ole, let's get it up to 700, guys. Ole, 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 ole. Ole, ole. Here we go. Let me enable the sound. Bring it up. And I'll go get the water so you guys don't run away.
השמיים נופלים ביום אחד על הראש.
In a world where hedge funds were the ruler, came a people that decided it was time to stand up. These people were called the apes. The apes knew that if they would band together, they could tag down the evil overlord, the hedge funds. They decided to do this with a very powerful and ancient weapons called the short squeeze. They will later write songs and poems about this short squeeze that happened way back in the year 2021, and it will be remembered for millennia to come. There was a time when it seemed that all was lost, but the apes were strong and stayed together. This was their greatest power of all. It was so powerful that even the rich and powerful hedge funds could not defeat them. To all the apes, stay strong, be strong, live strong. AMC to the moon.
השמיים נופלים ביום אחד על הראש, ולא יודעים.
Hope you enjoyed the video while I was taking a drink of water. So let's continue. See, basically the reaction here was sideways, not to here, not to there. We'll have to wait and see what the earnings call will say. So there's a theory. I was just taking a look at the AMC Discord, and someone wrote AMC quarter one earnings result missed, right? And missed. To be fair, hedges probably paid off analysts to increase the earnings estimate to unrealistic prices, raising the risk of missing. We still have the earnings call coming up with Adam Aaron. Could say some important things. We see to be holding nicely at 9 for so far, not reacting hugely to missed earnings, although hedges will likely try to capitalize on this tomorrow. So now the conspiracy theories start, right? It could be, but like we talked about this on the opening of the stream, that these analysts usually the video was terribly awesome. Yes. So yeah, we talked about this already, that they have missed by a bit. We talked about this before, like 10 minutes ago, that we were looking at the earnings, and they have missed. And I was talking about this on the opening of the live stream, that what happens usually is the earnings are more or less known if the CFO comes out and says specific things, but on the last week or so, last 2 weeks, sometimes you'll have some more numbers added if you have more sales or more anything like that. But with AMC, oh, sorry guys. With AMC, there's not going to be something that is like a game changing, right? You're not going to get suddenly a big order that someone suddenly ordered, right? Maybe you'd have a big movie that would open up and make a lot more than was anticipated, but you're not going to have this huge order that suddenly comes in. So that's the situation with Yeah, the what you saw humble roots farm. He says, I don't know what this means, but my toast platform said it was earnings from AMC this morning. So that was a glitch. We talked about this last night, I think, that was a glitch. It wasn't for AMC, it was for a different stock, and it was a glitch on toast, thinkorswim. So that's why you saw that. It wasn't the exact earnings. So we have the earnings call in another 15 minutes. It's going to be very interesting what Aaron has to say. Is it going to be, is he going to talk about the squeeze? I don't think he can say it. I don't think he is allowed to say that there's going to be a squeeze or not going to be a squeeze or what's going to happen. I think he's not allowed to do that from a SEC point. You have to remember that he owns like 5 million shares, something like that. So if the stock really goes to the moon, he's going to be a very, very rich man, right? Currently, it's like maybe $50 million what he has. And if it goes to 100, that would be already $500 million. That's a big difference. 50 million is nice wealth. 500 million is already generational wealth. So that could be, a difference for him. He's not new to CEOship, right? But so I'm sure he's not that poor, but it's going to be very interesting to see what he's going to say about the next few months, the next quarter, and the anticipation for growth for the company. So that's going to be important. Guys, smash that like button. And we'll go back to the earnings, take a look at what it says there. So theater reopening update. During the first quarter, the company welcomed millions of guests to its theaters as soon as it was safe to do so and permissible under local, state, or provincial as well as national guidelines. So this is something that we knew already. New York State authorized reopening of the theaters in New York City after almost a year of the theaters being closed under the limits, including a 25% seating capacity and maximum number of 50 people per screening. And they opened all of its 13 AMC theaters in March of 5th, 2021. So effective of April 26, seating capacities were increased to the lesser 33% of maximum auditorium capacity or 100 guests. Governor Cuomo announced that effective of May 16th, capacity restrictions for New York movie theaters will be removed, but a 6-foot social distancing rule will remain in effect. So I don't know really how they would implement that, but it's going to be interesting that the restrictions will be removed, but you have the 6-foot social distancing. So I guess families can sit together and you just have to have distancing between families, something like that, probably. The statistics have approved. And let's see what else. Sanitation program with the Clorox company. AMC is the largest company in the United States. Forward-looking statement. I don't think they're going to say something really groundbreaking here. They're waiting to see what the CEO will say in the conference call. So you can see here the numbers. Actually, I would love to see the numbers of quarters because this is 2020, the whole year, right? And these are quarterly numbers, so it's kind of hard to give this consideration, right? But we see that we have a loss here of 427 million. If we think about it, this is one quarter, we have 4 quarters, and last year there was 2 billion. So it's around the average of what they had last year. So that's not that great, right? But you can see that the expenses here, other expenses, income is also at a loss, and corporate borrowing is up. So they borrowed some more money. Let's see. Net loss before taxes. Net loss, yeah. Diluted loss per share. Look at this number. This is just an amazing, amazingly sad number, minus 20 per share. But what can you do? I mean, this is the worst year that you're going to have ever, right? Ever, unless there's some kind of catastrophic, apocalyptic kind of scenario. You're not going to see numbers like this again for these companies. So this is the worst that you would probably see the numbers for a company in their earnings. What happened in 2020, and now everything is just reopen, regroup, continue the way that we have been going. And it's nothing new, right? We knew that then we'd be at a loss, and we've seen that the stock really hasn't been affected that much from the earnings. We're basically at the exact number that we were before. So it's not nothing new, nothing, it's not nothing groundbreaking. We're just staying the course. We just have to wait for all of these rules from the SEC, from the DTCC to come into effect. And then we'll see a lot of shorts closing their positions. I think that if Adam Aaron will say bad things, hopefully not, right? But we're hoping that he'll say good things. Then you'll see a lot of shorting tomorrow, right? Because if the stock is going to go up, then you're going to see a lot of attacks by shorts. And it's going to be interesting. There's going to be a tug of war if that happens, right? They're going to have the longs trying to buy, or if there's good earnings, usually the most buying will be the algos, right? Algos, they listen to earnings, they listen to the transcripts, they read them, right? How a computer program can read. They try to figure out what they need to anticipate, and they try to see if there's any upgrades. They know, like there's these firms. There's a huge firm like this in Israel. They make tons and tons of money. It's very, very secretive. People that work there, they can't say what they're doing. It's really high level people in algorithms and in math and in computer science. And they sit and they try to figure out how to make money from stocks. And it's one of the most profitable companies in the country. And we don't know what's going on there. They don't tell us what stocks they own. They don't tell us anything. And I think it's a private company as well. And all they do is they have the algos. They don't do any, manual trading. It's all algos. And so the algos will look for this, and they have tons and tons and tons of money. So let's say they see that AMC suddenly has a lot of potential. What they'll do is they'll start buying, right? They'll start accumulating shares. And once they get to a specific level that they see that there's more volume coming in, then they're going to start selling. And it's going to be very interesting tug of war, because when the stocks will starts going up, you're going to see FOMO, right? This is what happens. FOMO, people come in and try to buy the stock, right? And then the algos are going to start to sell, but you're going to have the shorts that are getting squeezed out. So that's like the best case scenario that we're going to see. Guys, we have 1,000 people on the live stream, but only 565 likes. Guys, we need to get it up a little bit. Let's try to get it up to 750. Ole, 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 ole. Ole, ole. Ole, 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 ole. I'll drink a drink of water. I'll drink a drink of water. Let me know, guys, where are you from? We've had a lot of people join us since the last time I asked. Where are you from? Are you from the US? Are you from Africa? Are you from Asia? Are you from Germany? Before we had people from all over the world. So I was thinking about something. And maybe I should make a video about it. But I was thinking about, someone said something about Amazon. Give Peter, shout out to Peter. Peter or Peter. I think in some countries in Eastern Europe it's Peter, and in US it's Peter. Berlin. I was in Berlin last year, Sven. Just before COVID hit, the pandemic hit, and that was nice. So what I was thinking about is Ireland, Nigeria, California, Michigan. I used to live in Michigan for a year. Miami, Jacksonville, Connecticut, Korea, Asanyang to the Koreans. Poland, Yakshimash. Germany. So we have the Moneymaker tribe is from all over the world, and very, very international tribe we have here. Ethiopia. I'm from Mars. You're from the dark side of the moon. Do you remember that show? That was a funny show. So let's take a look here if anything has changed. We have the earnings call in another 4 minutes. So I'll put it on for us and we can listen to it together. It's going to be very interesting to see what Adam Aaron has to say. I have another engagement that's going to happen in another hour and a half. So hopefully I can we'll maybe do another half an hour after he starts, and then I might have to, I don't know if how long it will be the earnings call, but we'll see, because I need to rest before the other thing. We'll have the earnings live here. I have it ready. You can join the webcast. Let's see if it's you have to let me put in my data. Yeah. Let me see. There's just music now. If anything starts, we'll bring it up. Actually, let me see here. Technical difficulty time, right? Where is it? Okay, here. And when it's time, we'll bring it up. Guys, if you haven't yet joined the Moneymaker tribe and you want to, just click the subscribe button in the description down below. It's that easy. You don't have to do anything hard. You don't have to jump through hoops. You don't have to buy anything. You can also ring the bell for the notifications, and I was just reading the comments and I got stuck. What I was thinking about. You guys have been amazing in the comments. So many comments. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for joining the live stream. It's not I forgot the word. How would I say? I don't remember. I don't know the word, but it's not. It's like it's not a given. A given. Okay, I'd say it's not a given that you would come on my live stream and watch me. I know that there's probably a lot of other guys live now, Trey or Matt or Andrew or the other guys. So thank you for joining this live stream and not another live stream, and for watching the AMC videos daily and the other videos. I know that there's a lot of other options out there, so whoever comes and watches the videos daily, so thank you really, guys. It's 12 p.m. now, like 12 at night in Israel. Let's check if it's starting yet. I'll listen in. It's just music now, so when it starts, it's like a real elevator music. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. I turned off the computer audio, so here I'll let you guys listen in. It's elevator music. Let me shut that off so I don't get what's it called, demonetized. So we'll just wait another minute. It's supposed to start. Maybe they're setting it up. Let me know in the comment section, right? How many shares? It's starting. Okay. How many shares do you have and of AMC?
Quarter 2021 earnings conference call.
I'm going to shut off
During
my
the presentation, all participants will be
microphone
in
for
a
this part,
listen-only
and we'll
mode.
listen together.
Afterwards,
We'll
we'll
continue
conduct
in
a
the chat.
question and
I'll
answer
chat with
session.
you guys. So
At that time, if you have a
thank you
question,
guys
please press the 1
for
followed by
watching
the
until
4 on
now.
your
And
telephone. Should you require
let's
operator assistance at any time, please press *0. As a reminder, this call is being recorded today, Thursday, May 6, 2021. I'd now like to turn the call over to John Merriweather, Vice President, Investor Relations.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome everyone to AMC's first quarter 2021 earnings webcast. With me this afternoon is Adam Aron, our President and Chief Executive Officer, and Sean Goodman, our Chief Financial Officer. Before I turn the webcast over to Adam, let me remind everyone that some of the comments made by management today during this webcast may contain forward-looking statements that are based on management's current expectations. Numerous risks, uncertainties, and other factors may cause actual results to differ materially from those that might be expressed today. Many of these risks and uncertainties are discussed in our most recent public filings, including our most recently filed 10-Q. Several of the factors that will determine the company's future results are beyond the ability of the company to control or predict. In light of the uncertainties inherent in any forward-looking statements, listeners are cautioned to not place undue reliance on these statements. The company undertakes no obligation to revise or update any forward-looking statements, whether as a result of new information or future events. On this webcast, we may reference measures such as adjusted EBITDA, free cash flow, adjusted free cash flow, and constant currency, among others, which are non-GAAP financial measures. For a full reconciliation of our non-GAAP measures to GAAP results, please see our earnings release posted in the Investor Relations section of our website earlier today. After our prepared remarks, there will be a question and answer session. This afternoon's webcast is being recorded, and a replay will be available in the Investor Relations section of our website at amctheaters.com later today. With that, I'll turn the call over to Adam.
Thank you, John, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. For the last year, I've started all our AMC earnings webcasts and all our internal employee meetings by expressing my sincere wishes that you and your families, along with your colleagues and friends, all have been and are now still in good health in these challenging COVID times. Today is no different. I so do hope that you all are well. But with 250 million vaccination doses already in the arm in the United States and more than 1.2 billion doses of the vaccine having been administered globally, And given that millions of more vaccine injections are taking place every single day, both at home and abroad, this just may be the last time, or close to the last time, that we feel the need to do a preamble on these calls about your health. Isn't that a glorious thing to contemplate? I watch those vaccination statistics closely all the time because, let's say what it is, vaccination is our way out of all of this. Count me among the many who continue to marvel, and by the way, that's little m marvel, as in being amazed, not capital M marvel, through which Disney is going to be releasing some extraordinary movies theatrically this year. Anyway, I truly marvel that every one of us talking or listening today on this webcast are now in our 14th or 15th month of living through this real-life horror show repeat of the Spanish flu epidemic of 1918 and 1919. I doubt that anyone on this call really expected that ever in our lifetimes would we have to deal with something this bad, which is so disruptive to what we think of as normal living, and to do that for so long. Before I leave the vaccination issue, though, which is so critical to AMC's recovery for obvious reasons, I said a few months back that Albert Bourla, the CEO of Pfizer, might just be the most important human in directing the comeback and the immediate future of the entire cinema industry. I meant that then, and I mean that still today. Although he may have to share some credit with Moderna and others in pharma, as well as with those in the Trump administration who made a daring commitment to Operation Warp Speed. But today, we also are so incredibly grateful to the new Biden administration for getting the vaccine rolled out and in arm to so many Americans so quickly. The U.S. is conquering a mind-numbing logistical challenge, and the country doing so is a major reason why I am truly and absolutely optimistic, hopeful, and confident in AMC's recovery. Turning more directly to AMC, as I look back on the odyssey of the past year for AMC, there's just no other way to say it than this. It is simply and utterly astonishing what AMC has accomplished since March of 2020. Astonishing. It should take your breath away. It certainly did mine. And, I say that not trying to have any sense of braggadocio. It's just the truth. And even as we say that, when we look back at what we've accomplished in such challenging times, we're not wearing rose-colored glasses. We're not sugarcoating our reality. We know that AMC is losing money today, not making money today. And we know, too, and are so very well aware, that there is enormous work ahead for us to steer AMC through to a recovery. But what gives us the confidence that recovery is finally in our reach, and that going forward we will maneuver our way to get AMC through these waters, is this. Just look at what this management team already has pulled off in these unparalleled times. At AMC, we were within months or weeks of running out of cash 5 different times between April of 2020 and January of 21. There are a lot of smart people on this call, and many of you were certain that AMC would collapse. Why? To use a billiards metaphor, because to succeed, we would have had to run the table about 10 times in a row. We would have had to execute flawlessly on so many different dimensions. But that's the thing here. At AMC, that's precisely what we did. My goodness, the strength and circumstances of AMC are so much radically different and radically improved on May 6th than they were just months ago on November 6th or December 6th or on January 6th. 6 months ago, in this very quarterly earnings call forum, I was quoting Winston Churchill's famous "We will fight on the beaches" speech to discuss the wartime mentality that we had at AMC to successfully tackle our seemingly to many insurmountable challenges. Well, we know with the benefit of hindsight that Sir Winston won his war, and we have every confidence in looking ahead that AMC will win ours. We certainly are well on our way. Here is where we've ended up coming out of Q1 and moving into Q2 in calendar year 2021. As of March 31, 2021, we are strong. Almost all of our U.S. theaters are now open. And ever so importantly, our theaters in New York and Los Angeles are open, where in both markets, AMC is the number one player and which together represent about a third of our total U.S. business activity. And our market share in the United States has soared, increasing by about 25% compared to pre-pandemic levels. AMC's U.S. market share was about 26-27% a year back. Recently, we've enjoyed a share that is more around the 33% level. We've taken share from those who stayed closed, or those who've gone bankrupt, or those whose marketing prowess is not as imaginative as that of AMC, or from those whose theaters are not as nice as ours, given our substantial reinvestment in them over the past many years. And even as others finally reopen, we believe we will permanently keep some, not all, but some of that increased market share that we've been capturing of late, now that more and more people are discovering and experiencing AMC for themselves firsthand. Our Middle Eastern theaters, too, are all open. Our theaters in Spain and Portugal are open, and much more of our European estate, most notably in the United Kingdom, comes back up in a big way just 2 weeks from now. And crucially, big new titles are starting to come out too, as you know, and people are coming to our theaters again. Our business for the opening of Godzilla vs. Kong was 5 times that of the average first quarter attendance. The Mortal Kombat Demon Slayer weekend 2 weeks ago was our biggest attended weekend at AMC since March of 2020, 13 months ago. Watch TV now, as I did last night. You'll see trailer after trailer before your eyes, starting to create the hype for all the big movies being released to theaters in May, June, July, and beyond. And critically important too, critically important, for AMC at the end of Q1, AMC had more than $1 billion of immediately available liquidity. That is the highest quarter-end liquidity that AMC has ever had in our entire 101-year history. In our new equity raise announced just last week, we had already brought in another $153 million at an average share price of $9.85 per share as of yesterday in just 5 trading days. That number is now $172 million in the door for AMC as of market close today. This takes our total amount raised to approximately $2.9 billion in fresh equity and debt capital over the last year, including the conversion of $600 million of convertible notes into equity at a price of $13.51 per share. And wait to hear this. Literally tomorrow, Friday, May 7th, we will cross the $2 billion mark of cash raised through equity or debt, about 4/5 of that being equity rather than debt, since December 14, 2020, only 5 months ago. $2 billion in the door, boosting our liquidity since December 14. And that's in addition to all that we did from a capital perspective between April and November of 2020, which was about another $2 billion in addition, as spelled out in more detail in our press release today. Taking step after step, this was the AMC to-do list over the past year. Closing theaters and reopening them, closing them again and reopening them again. Gut-wrenchingly having to furlough our entire U.S. workforce, and then bringing our workforce back and dealing with all the extremely important and sensitive issues associated with all that. Designing our AMC Safe and Clean protocols with Clorox and Harvard School of Public Health faculty at our side, joined at the hip with us, to prove that we could reopen responsibly. Navigating with studios, both with carrot and stick, in defending theatrical exhibition and defending AMC, but also understanding and accommodating their desire to creatively address windows and simultaneously beef up their streaming platforms. Prepare for hyper-aggressive and innovative marketing activity when new major titles come to our theater in quantity, as they are starting to do now. Professionally handle a change of control from Wanda, who was a terrific partner for us for many years and who remains still our single largest shareholder, to a shareholder base primarily individual shareholders, about 3 million strong, most of whom live in North America and Europe. And above all else, build up liquidity, bolster cash, cut spending, defer obligations, renegotiate theater leases from our landlord community, who I might tangentially add, heroically really had our back in 2020, and to whom we are ever so grateful now and will be perpetually grateful to as we return to our former self. But the list continues. We had to raise equity and debt, all the while deleveraging to the tune of some $1,255 million in debt that was either forgiven by our lenders or converted instead to equity. Why am I sharing all of that with you now today? Well, some of it's new information for many of you, and some of it you already know. But in a simple summary, here's the point that I've been trying to make. When you look at it all as one interwoven tapestry, our dedicated, experienced AMC management team and employees, coupled with the biggest and best collection of theater assets in our industry, both in the U.S. and globally, had enormous challenges to deal with in 2020, and we performed beyond all expectations over the past year. Of course, it's clear that challenges anew are still out there aplenty for AMC to deal with. A recovery in the movie theater industry has not yet started. It's just about to start. You can feel it, you can taste it, you can see it just over the horizon, but it hasn't actually started yet. And literally, no one knows what the pace, fast or slow, of that recovery will be. It's clear to us that there'll be much more flawless execution needed at AMC and by AMC to energize this recovery and to benefit from this recovery. But think about all of this. The passion, the energy, the drive, the creativity, the work ethic, the smarts, and the sheer will that AMC displayed in 2020 to make it through this pandemic. That is precisely what we're going to display again at AMC in 2021 and again in 2022. No resting on recent laurels here. No taking a year sabbatical. No coasting. No mailing it in. We all know this is a what have you done for me lately world. And we will give it our all to make people as impressed with AMC's accomplishments this year in 2021 and next year in 2022 as they were with the strides AMC made in 2020. In November of 1942, 2.5 years before World War II ended in Europe, my favorite Winston Churchill said in yet another of his famous speeches, quote, "Now this is not the end. It's not even the beginning of the end, but it is perhaps the end of the beginning." It took him another 2.5 years, but Sir Winston won his Titanic fight. Indeed, it's going to take us a while too. But hear me now and write it down and hold us to it. As you think about COVID, its aftermath, and the structural changes in our industry that may come our way, I believe that AMC will win our war too. I'm now going to turn the call over to Sean to update you on where we are financially, and then we're going to head pretty quickly after that to Q&A. Sean?
Thanks, Adam, and thank you to everyone for joining us this afternoon. And I also do hope that you and your families have been keeping safe and well during this time. The COVID-19 crisis has continued to severely impact our business during the first quarter. We ended the quarter with nearly 99% of our U.S. circuit open, but we also contended with a combination of significant capacity limitations, reduced operating hours of our own accord to decrease costs, the sizable number of our theaters that were closed for much of the quarter, the continued closure of the vast majority of our international theaters, and all of this combined with a limited number of new title releases. So not surprisingly, this all significantly impacted our attendance levels for the quarter. The very low attendance levels ultimately make this quarter's financial results of somewhat limited relevance. The data is, of course, for all to see in our press release, so I'm really not going to dig into it in much detail on this call. I'll focus my comments with you this afternoon instead on our prospects looking ahead. But before I do so, though, I do want to mention two first quarter statistics that are particularly encouraging. Compared to the first quarter of 2019, before the onset of COVID, our domestic average ticket prices were up more than 11%, and our domestic food and beverage revenue per patron in our very high-margin food and beverage business was up more than 45%. Clearly, guests returning to our theaters are eager to participate in the full theatrical experience, including enjoyment of our innovative and tasty concession offerings. The key performance indicators that drove these two improved metrics for the quarter benefited from a higher proportion of evening and weekend shows, strategic ticket and food and beverage pricing adjustments, the success of our very popular private theater rental program, and increased usage of our mobile AMC app for both ticket and food and beverage purchases. We used the time period of this pandemic to roll out mobile food and beverage ordering on our smartphone app at basically all of our US AMC and AMC Classic theaters. Our industry-leading smartphone app now makes it ever so easy to conveniently order food and beverage items at the same time as purchasing tickets, with the food and beverage items fully prepared and waiting for our guests either to collect when they arrive at our theaters or delivered to their seats. Similarly, during the height of the pandemic, we dramatically upgraded our mobile IT platforms for our UK guests, the UK being our second largest country territory. Now, moving on from the quarter's results, let's talk more broadly about AMC's overall liquidity, financial position, and prospects ahead. In our press release issued earlier today, we provided a comprehensive list of the decisive actions that we took over the last 13 months to improve our liquidity position for success in 2021 and beyond. These actions included raising $2.95 billion of capital, which includes the conversion of $600 million of convertible debt to equity. That's a price of $13.51 per share. Securing more than $1.2 billion of creditor and landlord concessions, obtaining more than $150 million of assistance from European governments, and generating $80 million from non-strategic asset sales. So as of March 31st, we had $813 million of cash, $29 million of restricted cash, and approximately $212 million available under our revolving credit facility, given that we paid down our revolver balance during the first quarter. This gives us total liquidity on March 31st, 2021 of $1.025 billion. As Adam said earlier, this is the highest amount of quarter-end liquidity that AMC has ever had in our 101-year history. The monthly cash burn in Q1 came out at approximately $120 million per month. Note that this is after normalizing for the impact of capital in the quarter. Of course, it goes without saying that with all the debt and equity capital that we raised during the quarter, our cash position greatly increased during the quarter, not decreased. As previously announced, last week we launched an at-the-market or ATM program to issue up to 43 million shares to further enhance the financial strength and strategic flexibility of AMC during what continue to be challenging times. As of the close of the market today, in just 6 trading days, we'd sold approximately 17.5 million shares for gross proceeds of approximately $172 million at an average price of $9.77 per share. Needless to say, from a liquidity perspective, it has been a good week for AMC. At the end of the first quarter, we had deferred rent obligations of approximately $470 million. This is up from $450 million at the end of Q4 2020. Repayment terms continue to be an average of 27 months, and although a number of agreements have repayment periods that extend through the remaining lease term, which in some cases is well in excess of 10 years. A reminder that the rent expense shown on the face of the income statement represents our rent obligation for the quarter as opposed to cash rent paid. For the first quarter, actual cash rent paid was approximately $40 million less than what is shown on the face of the income statement. While future rent payments will continue to depend on ongoing discussions with our landlords, we anticipate that our quarterly cash rent payments during the remainder of 2021 will be meaningfully higher than Q1's levels, and also that the cash rent in the second half of 2021 will be higher than the income statement rent, both because attendance levels are expected to increase and we will also be repaying some rent deferred from prior periods. Shifting to capital expenditures, as previously stated, we have continued to limit capital expenditures to minimum maintenance levels, really eliminating all but essential and previously committed CapEx. During the first quarter, our CapEx spend was only $8.2 million, net of landlord contributions. This is $67.4 million lower than the same quarter a year ago. As a reminder, net CapEx for the whole of 2021 is expected to be approximately $100 million. And going forward, our CapEx will ratchet up or down based on the speed of our recovery, and we expect 2022 CapEx to be between $100 and $150 million. These numbers are orders of magnitude lower than the AMC CapEx programs of 2, 3, and 4 years ago. Overall, we're in a solid financial position to continue to withstand COVID-related disruptions to our business and to capitalize on the expected return to more normal attendance levels later in the year. At the same time, we believe that it is important to continue to take strategic actions to further strengthen our balance sheet and enhance our liquidity profile so as to optimally position ourselves for long-term sustainable success in the post-COVID world. With that, I'll now pass the call back over to Adam.
Thank you, Sean. 2 very quick points, but important points, before we open it up to your questions. First, on AMC's continuing liquidity. Let's assume that our current 43 million share at the market equity raise continues to go well. Let's also assume that the domestic box office, as a proxy for the industry's overall health, has some semblance of a recovery starting in the second half of 2021. How do we define some semblance of recovery? A domestic box office, meaning the box office for the U.S. and Canada, hitting $5 billion or more in 2021, and a domestic box office of $8 billion or more in 2022. How reasonable is an $8 billion placeholder for 2022? We all have our opinions, some more informed than others, but literally no one knows for sure. After all, 2020 was a disaster, and there are a myriad of predictions as to how quickly a recovery in movie theater ticket sales will occur. Still, reflect on this. Absent a global pandemic, the domestic box office has exceeded $8 billion every year between 2001 and 2019. 19 years in a row. It has exceeded $9 billion every year between 2006 and 2019, 14 years in a row. It has exceeded $10 billion every year between 2009 and 2019, 11 years in a row, and has exceeded $11 billion every year between 2015 and 2019, 5 years in a row. And finally, also assume that everything else more or less works out along the lines of our current expectations. In that scenario, when looking at our liquidity, we can say now that AMC will have materially extended our liquidity runway all the way through the end of 2022. And given our sizable market share, a domestic box office in 2021 above $5 billion, or a domestic box office in 2022 above $8 billion, would put a lot of extra monies into AMC's coffers. Second point, AMC now has an army of passionate, interested individual shareholders, some 3 million strong. The exact number was 3.2 million shareholders on March 11th, the last time we got an investor count. They owned more than 4/5 of our then 450 million outstanding shares as of that March 11th date. Since then, a lot of AMC shares have changed hands. So we actually delayed our annual meeting of shareholders to July 29 with a new record date of June 2. And we'll get an updated count of shares outstanding as of that date, June 2. We'll also get the number of shareholders and their contact information in early June. We did all this in part so that we could give our current investors the opportunity to make their important voices heard. But we already know this well before June 2. These individual investors likely hold a majority of our shares. They own AMC. We work for them. I work for them. So by definition, their interests and passions are important to AMC. Their interests and passions are important to me. Many of you remember the extraordinary and heartwarming 1988 movie, Gorillas in the Mist, nominated for 5 Oscars. Starring Sigourney Weaver, Gorillas in the Mist showcased the extraordinary life story of American primatologist Dian Fossey, who dedicated her life to saving the endangered gorilla species, especially where they commonly reside in Central Africa, mostly in Rwanda, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. With all that support over decades, the gorilla population quintupled, more than quintupled actually, but even so, there are still fewer than 1,100 gorillas alive today in this part of Africa. Saving these beautiful creatures is a noble goal. Many of our investors, too, have embraced Dian Fossey's cause and have raised substantial monies for it. Each year, AMC raises third-party money from our suppliers and others, such that our off-balance sheet charitable foundation, AMC Cares, can provide financial support to worthy causes. I am pleased to announce today that AMC Cares will make a $50,000 cash donation to the Dian Fossey Gorilla Fund, and that I also am pleased to announce today that out of my pocket personally, I will match that AMC Cares donation dollar for dollar, bringing the total contribution from AMC Cares and from me up to $100,000. AMC is going to become one of only 7 platinum sponsors of the Dian Fossey Gorilla Fund, the highest tier of their sponsorships. And I will join its Digit Society, its highest tier of personal donors. The Digit Society, by the way, heralds Digit. Digit was Dian Fossey's favorite gorilla when she was alive. Above and beyond those cash donations, we already have started discussing with the Fossey Fund other ways that AMC can be of help. Within the boundaries, of course, of the law, integrity, and ethics, as well as the exercise of wise judgment on behalf of all stakeholding constituencies, in the free market capitalist system, the shareholder is king. As I said before, the interests of our shareholders become our interests. The passions of our shareholders become our passions too. With that, operator, we're ready to go to Q&A.
Certainly, and thank you very much. If you would like to register a question, please press the 1 followed by the 4 on your telephone. You will hear a 3-tone prompt to acknowledge that request. If your question has been answered and you would like to withdraw your registration, please press the 1 followed by the 3. First question comes from Eric Wold with B. Riley. Your line is open.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Adam and Sean. Appreciate taking the call for a question. A couple questions, I guess one, maybe as the markets start to reopen, a question on your 2 largest states. How are you interpreting the new social distancing capacity rules in New York City, and what do you think that actually means for capacity limits near term? And then on California, do you plan on going to 100% capacity when allowed to in mid-June, or are there some local restrictions that may not allow that?
So, Eric, whatever the capacity limitations are, they're a lot higher than 0%, which is where it was like 8 weeks ago, and 25%, where it's been recently, and 50%. In New York especially, the capacity, we expect that the capacity limit will be removed, but the enforcement of a 6-foot social distancing rule will continue to be enforced by governmental authorities, which of course we will respect. And we've already made the decision, as some of you know, to continue a mandatory mask policy deep into the summer at the very least, maybe beyond that, as we learn more about not the pace of our recovery, but the pace of the nation's recovery from the spread of the COVID-19 vaccine. So I think clearly capacity limitations are going up. That's true in New York. That's true in LA. We intend to be very cautious. I am immensely proud of how much effort AMC put into AMC Safe and Clean. We opened our theaters back in August, and we still have not heard of one documented case of COVID-19 being transmitted guest to guest at our theaters. That's so, and that's such a tribute to our people at our theaters who work so hard to operate their theaters cleanly, operate their theaters responsibly, operate their theaters safely. With this commitment to safety at extraordinary expense, I might add, that AMC has shown since last August, protocols that we started working on last May. We're not about to blow it now by taking unnecessary risks. So we'll follow the science very carefully. We're listening to our Harvard faculty very carefully. It's interesting that the people we've been working with at the School of Public Health were so far ahead of the rest of the country that airborne transmission was the real thing to worry about here rather than fomite touch. And you'll recall back last spring, the whole world was worrying about what you touched. And in fact, we were out buying thousands of MERV 13 air filters for our HVAC systems because we were way out front that in addition to cleaning and sanitizing and wipes and gels and masks and social distancing, boy, we needed high-tech solutions too to make sure that the transmission of the virus through the air was greatly minimized at AMC. So, looking ahead, I'm sure the capacity limits are going to rise all across the country. We all know what President Biden has said. 4th of July is going to be a great weekend in the United States, he says. We know that there were 250 million injections in arm in the United States 48 hours ago. And there are more than that today. And there'll be a lot more than that by the end of May and by the end of June. And all this bodes well for taking capacity levels up. But we're only going to do it safely. We think our associates deserve it, and our customers deserve it. The other thing to remember, in our case, we have the opportunity to be so forgiving on capacity limitations because, as you've heard me say before, we sell more movie tickets than anybody in the world, and we only sold 17% of our available seats in 2019. We have so many showtimes where these capacity limitations don't cost us a thing. So that's how I'd answer your question. We're upbeat. Capacity limits are going to rise in jurisdiction after jurisdiction, month to month, as vaccinations rise, as the infection spread diminishes.
Thank you. And maybe just one more, if I may. I guess, can you talk about what you're seeing in the current labor market and, in hiring, hourly employees to come back to the theater? Are you needing to push up wage rates at all to attract workers? And then kind of taking it from the reverse, obviously you're trying to come out of this pandemic in a more efficient manner. Eventually, will you have the same number of hourly workers on hand kind of when things ramp back up as you did in 19, or will the number actually be lower?
So let's talk about how difficult it is or is not to hire, and then I'll talk about our staffing levels. In the next several weeks, we're going to be hiring between 5,000 and 10,000 people to beef up our staffing levels as we approach the summer season, when we see a lot of new movies being released and a lot more people coming to our theaters. Fortunately for us, AMC's always been a very happy place to work. Morale at our theaters has always been high. Our theater general managers just devote so much effort to the care and attention they direct at what we call our film crew at our theaters. And so if anybody's going to get employees to come back, I believe it will be us. We have seen some wage pressure by other employers in some locales, but we ourselves have not felt much wage pressure yet. How that will change over the next 6-8 months, we'll all learn together. But I know that as captain of the ship, I'm relaxed about hiring talented people to work at our theaters, and our operations department is nervous as all get up about it. And that's because I get to tell them to hire the people, and they got to go figure out how to do it. But they've done it really well for a lot of years. I think they're going to get it done again. Here's a little fact that you may not know about companies like ours who tend to pay starting job wages, not necessarily minimum wage, some cases minimum wage, other times higher than minimum wage, but still these are first jobs for a lot of young people in the country. The turnover in that workforce, what I might call the starting wage workforce, is like I don't mean just for AMC, I'm talking about across the country. It turns over every 4 to 6 months. And while our theater managers might stay with us for 30 years, and while our supervisors might stay with us for 20 years, and our hourly managers might stay with us for 20 years, a lot of our film crew, cashiers, ticket takers, popcorn poppers, they're with us for 6 fun months. They had a great work experience, and they move on. So actually, pre-pandemic, AMC was hiring about 50,000 people a year, every single year, to staff up our theaters. So we've got a lot of practice at it. We know how to do it. I'm confident we'll staff as needed, and that we'll be able to do it without massive wage pressure. Where the wage pressure will come in is as more and more laws are passed raising the minimum wage. Because not only will it raise the minimum wage, it will raise wages that are close to minimum wage. But that's a problem for 2022 or 2023 more than it's a problem for June of 2021. As for staffing levels, we worked really hard during this horrible pandemic to get more efficient than we've ever been before. And we skinnied down our overhead a lot. In our corporate headquarters in Leawood, Kansas, our management staffing is about a third less than it was 2 years ago. And the company is the same size. And in our theater manager counts, the way we manage our theaters, general managers, senior managers, supervisors, hourly managers, we're also down roughly a third in terms of supervisory workforce. But I don't expect that we'll cut line staffing very much. Now, we certainly have, since last March, when we shut all our theaters, and when we reopened our theaters, we were really tight on reducing operating hours and reducing days that our theaters were open. So while some circuits stayed closed, AMC made the decision that all of our theaters would open when governments allowed them to, but not necessarily open 7 days a week, 14 hours a day. Some of our theaters were open 7 days a week. Some of our theaters were open 5 days a week. Some of our theaters were open 3 days a week. For months and months, even though we were open, we only had 1 or 2 showtimes a day at our theaters, when historically we would have had 4 or 5 showtimes a day. So we were able to ratchet down staffing levels commensurate with the much lower demand levels and much lower attendance levels that we are experiencing heretofore. But we do expect that that's about to change. Big new movies are coming out. Thank you, Universal, for F9. Thank you, Disney, for Black Widow. Thank you, Warner, for the movies they're bringing to our theaters. And to Paramount and Sony and Lionsgate and all the studios we work with. A lot of new movies are coming. The number of guests coming to our theaters should geometrically increase, and we will have to raise our staffing levels to serve them well. But of course, as we raise our costs, we're also raising our revenues, because those people will be paying customers. I especially like, speaking of paying customers, just look at the food and beverage revenue per patron that we put on the board in the first quarter. The numbers continue to be historically high. Our food and beverage business is a high margin business. And these people, having been deprived of their AMC Perfectly popcorn, accompanied by a nice 54-ounce cup of Coca-Cola, they're heading to the concession stands, and they are getting the whole AMC experience. And so we do need to make sure that we staff up so that we can let them buy these food and beverage items from us with the high margins they bring in.
Perfect. Very helpful. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Eric.
And our next question comes from Megan Durkin with Credit Suisse. Your line is open.
Hi, guys. Adam, I wanted to ask about the new shareholder base quickly. So how do you see this going? I mean, if management thinks that increasing the share authorization is the best move for the company, but the new shareholders don't, then what is the way forward from there? And then for Sean, a quick one. Are you still expecting to cross over and turn cash flow positive in 4Q21? That's it for me.
Thank you, Megan. I'll take the first one. If management thinks something and the owners of our business think something else, in the free market system, guess who wins? Guess who always wins? The owners of the business, because the managements work for the owners. Now, We can try to explain and we can try to persuade, and we can also listen, and we can adjust our strategies. There are a lot of ways to skin a cat. And I'm quite optimistic about the new shareholder base of AMC. Just go on Twitter. Just go on Reddit. Just go on YouTube. Read what these people write. They love AMC. These are not people who are just going to be investors in AMC. These are going to be customers of AMC who come to our theaters and enjoy watching movies at our theaters as paying guests. So I love the idea that we have a passionate, committed, enthusiastic shareholder base. And I'm sure that as we work together, management and ownership, we'll come to the right answer. Look at what we've achieved, the whole point of my prepared remarks. Look at what we've achieved in the last year. We're going to achieve good things the next year and the year after that too. The only thing that'll be different, though, is before, when I wanted to talk to the company's ownership, I could fly to Beijing and I could sit down with 3 or 4 people and they had 75% of the votes. Or I could talk to some of you, analysts, who were in frequent contact with people who also had huge percentage votes of our company's shareholding base. We could go on non-deal roadshows with you all and meet this institutional investor or that institutional investor and make our case and make our pitch. Well, it's going to be a little different now because I don't have 5 people in one office. I don't have 15 securities analysts who talk to all these institutions. We've got 3.2, we have. As on March 11, we had 3.2 million people who we're going to have to talk to explain what the company's up to, what the company's doing, what the company wants to do, why we want to do it, how it impacts them, and do they agree with it. And so you're going to see a lot more outreach to literally millions of investors in our company, and it's going to be quite public. I've started tweeting again. Back when I ran the Philadelphia 76ers, I was tweeting 15 times a day. And I don't think I've tweeted 15 times a year in the last 5 years at AMC. But I started tweeting again. And we are communicating with our shareholder base. Some of you may have seen a YouTube interview that I did. Try getting 4 minutes on CNBC. That's pretty hard. Well, we got 90 minutes on YouTube, and it had 250,000 views. And, on YouTube, they get to grade it. They give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And the last time I looked, over 20,000 people took the time to rate it, this 90-minute interview, and 99.4% of them gave us a thumbs up. So it's going to change the way we communicate, and it's going to change who we communicate to. But I'm very confident that the outcome will have a happy ending. Sean.
Megan, so to your question on the cash flow forecast for 2021, what I'll say is firstly that our overall forecast for 2021 remains the same as it was when we last spoke on the previous earnings call. There's an assumption behind that. The assumption is that the domestic box office is around $5 billion level, and international is somewhere similar. The timing of the cash flow is obviously going to be very dependent on the timing of specific film releases. What we see, based on the timing now and the predictions for the remainder of this year, is that a Q2 cash flow will be pretty similar to Q1. the second half of the year overall will be significantly better than the first half of the year. But you're going to see Q3 is going to be better than Q2, quite a lot better than Q2. And Q4 is going to be better than Q3. But exactly, whether or not we'll be breaking cash in Q4 really does depend on how the final film slate ends up at the end of the day here.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Sure.
And we have time for one last question, which will come from Chad Beynon with Macquarie. Your line is open.
Hey, this is Aaron on for Chad. You guys had some really strong ticket and concession pricing, obviously, in the quarter. Can you share how much of that strength was driven by the strategic pricing adjustments you mentioned? And do you think this is sustainable going forward when demand starts to return in full and other entertainment options open up?
So I'll let Sean give you the specific as to what part of this high food and beverage spend per patron was price rather than quantity. But I will tell you that the lion's share of this massive surge in food and beverage purchasing is that more people are going to the concession stand and they're buying more things when they get there. I remember being kind of astonished when I joined AMC 5 years ago that almost a third of our entire clientele went to a theater, watched the movie, and didn't get anything. Never bought any food and beverage items. And so one of the ways to increase, and of course, but our food and beverage revenues are divided by our total patron count. So that which is being bought by the people who buy is being blended with the nothing that was bought by a third of our clientele. Well, people have been so deprived of something that they love. People love going to the movies. All the talk about streaming that we hear, people love going to theaters. It happened 1 billion times in the United States in 2019. And what we're seeing now is having been deprived of enjoying movies on the big screen and going back to theaters, people want the whole enchilada. They want the whole thing. They want popcorn. They want a drink. They want candy. They want hot dogs. They want nachos. Everything that we have. And some of our more imaginative food and beverage items, they want those too. Flatbread pizzas, give me another. And so what we're seeing is more people are going to the concession stand, and then when they get there, they're, if in the old days they bought 2 items, today they're buying 3. So I think that trend is going to continue for quite some time. Because when you think of this recovery, this rolling recovery that we're imagining for our industry and for our company, that really starts kicking in Memorial Day weekend and runs in the second half of 2022, a lot of people are going to be coming back to the theaters for the first time again in a year when they show up in July or when they show up in August. Even though some people in our theaters will have been coming every month since February or March. And so I think there's going to be a lot of this splurging going on. And so I would expect that we would see elevated food and beverage spending levels for quite some time. Will it be at this high level? And will it stay at this high level forever? We're all going to find out together. No one's got a perfect crystal ball to understand what the future will bring. But we're pretty optimistic that at least as the recovery begins, food and beverage spending will be higher than what we've seen in more routine times. As for pricing, Sean?
Yeah, no, Adam explained the drivers of the food and beverage statistic very well there. As to pricing, that was the least significant impact. The much more significant impacts were, as Adam said, the units that people were buying in each transaction and the number of guests going to the concession and actually buying products as well. So the price adjustment was very, very small in the total drivers there, less than 10% of the total increase.
Okay,
ladies and gentlemen, we thank you all for joining us today. It's been a wild ride, and that wild ride is going to continue. But we are very much hopeful that recovery is right around the corner. Thank you for being with us today.
And all that does conclude the conference call for today. We thank you very much for your participation, and I say please disconnect.
I love how at the end of the conference call he's like, well, thank you for listening to our video today, and I'd like to thank you guys to smash that like button. I love the American support, right? They have that tone of speaking. Thank you guys for watching this AMC earnings call with Moneymaker. I hope everybody enjoyed what you were hearing. Go get vaccinated, go get some popcorn, go to the movies. Thank you for watching this live stream. Smash the like button. Smash the like button. I took my camera down. I have something that I have to do later, so I need the camera. I need to get maybe I can get my webcam on, but then I'd look really weird. Let me see if I can do that. If we'll see anything and just say goodbye to you guys. Let's see. Properties. And can you see me, guys, from a weird angle? So thank you guys for watching, and hopefully we have a great day tomorrow, and everything will be amazing. And look, the earnings itself was not great. Right? It wasn't amazing. It wasn't totally bad, but it was okay. Right? It wasn't too terrible. And the conference call, I think, was pretty good. We saw here that they had some things to say that we anticipated. There wasn't anything groundbreaking. You saw that the stock started climbing a little bit. There was a little bit of volume, and then it pulled back. So going forward, we're going to have to see how this continues. We can't really predict anything for tomorrow. We were up in aftermarket, but I feel that we might continue the consolidation here that we had in this area, right? In this tunnel here, right where we are at, and bounce around here until we're able to break out or break down. So it's going to be interesting to see if the company will get any upgrades going forward, because they're saying that the next quarter are going to be significantly better. So we're going to have to see what's happening there. Thank you guys for watching. If you're interested in joining Webull, I have an affiliate link in the description down below. Deposit $100 and you get 2 free stocks up to $1,850. You can also trade crypto now on Webull. So crypto is going crazy lately. So if you're interested in that, I get a little bit commission. It helps me keep the lights on in the apartment. And I thank you guys for any support you give me. So I'll talk to you guys tomorrow, and like I always say, guys, let's make some money.